Hello, everybody. This is Dot, anti-natalist, and today I'm going to be talking about thermal discomforts and the fact that as an anti-natalist, we are, you know, um, extremely aware of sufferings in life. Um, Other people, natalists, and those people who are just not aware or who go around with blinders on and their heads in the sand, they don't seem to connect um, the actual suffering that they encounter every day. But I'm going to talk about thermal sufferings, and I just had a pretty incredible one this morning, and I'm just going to go, one by one. I have several to talk about, and and I'm going to talk about the degree of those sufferings. So, I live in a region where we have four seasons. And, we have all kinds of discomforts. We have rain, cold, wind. We have heat, humidity. We have snow, sometimes hail, sleet, but lots of rain in this region. So, anyway, four seasons means that the seasons are not cut and dried. The seasons gradually develop into, a climate that is more stable. So right now we are going through, leaving a winter climate, going into spring. However, we have had the most mild winter in all of the state's record, the region's record. It has been such a mild winter. It's shocking. We had maybe 3 snow days and very, very little extreme cold. Very few cold days below 30 degrees Fahrenheit. But so the changing of the seasons is very distressful because you're trying to maintain an indoor climate. So, for instance, the other day I had the air conditioning on. The day after, the temperature dropped outside and we needed heat on. So there was this constant struggle to maintain comfort for the human body. And I was in my room, and the temperature had dropped enough degrees outside that my face was cold, my nose was cold, and my nose has been very sensitive since I was young, and I think some people who, have extremities that get cold have nose gets cold, but it's very uncomfortable. And so I was in my house, and by the time I get to a point of discomfort, that means it is cold enough inside that the heat should have been regulated, but it wasn't. Or that I had just tolerated the heat differential and the dropping of the cold temperature, that by the time my body senses that I needed more heat, I was already suffering. And so I was like laying in bed, and I was just cold, and I turned my electric blanket on, and I didn't even want to leave the bed. My feet were cold, my body was cold, my shoulders were cold, my nose was cold, my face was cold. And I mean, this is an indoor insulated building, a modern building. Like, I don't live in a tent. I don't live in a shack. I don't live in a broken down, decrepit house. I mean, this is, a house of American standards with insulation and a degree of heat on. And still my body was uncomfortable. Just this morning, I took my dog out briefly to go to the bathroom. She followed me outside. I was really hoping that she would go quickly, but she didn't. Now, it looked like it was kind of a sunny day. However, the ground was hard, and I mean, it wasn't frozen, but it was cold, so I had no shoes on. I had no socks on. And the only reason I went outside was because I wanted her to go to the bathroom, and she's still having some housebreaking issues. And she didn't go immediately, so I was like, I was suffering, I was standing there, and I can tolerate body cold more than my feet. So I was standing outside, and then I walked on the concrete path, and it was even colder. So I decided, well, let me just step onto the grass. But the grass really hasn't been growing much. It's still kind of mud and, just earth. Not much grass for softness. So I was standing in the grassy, dirty dirt area. My feet were so cold. So then I try to balance the cold, and I'm like, tip tapping like this, like trying to minimize the cold on both feet by lifting one leg at a time. Kind of like, when you're really, really tired and you'll close like one eye, and like you're reading or you're on the internet or watching a movie, and you're just like, trying to use that one eye, and then you cover that eye, and you're like basically propping those eyes open with toothpicks to manage fatigue and tiredness and still stay awake. Well, that's what I was doing outside with my feet. And then, unfortunately, the cold on my feet was intolerable, and I walked inside, and my dog did not go to the bathroom. And so I learned that I cannot go outside anymore without having some shoes on. But this brings me to another case. This was many, many years ago. This is about 6 or 7 years ago. And it was the winter time. And I was in my house, and it was very warm. At the time, I had heated floors in the house. And there was something going on outside, and my dogs needed, some kind of assistance urgently. So I left the comfort of my kitchen, and I also had no shoes or socks on. I thought I had heard some distress with my dogs, so, I just ran out, and there was snow on the ground. Well, I took care of whatever situation that was, and then the utter pain of my toes and my feet that were in the snow for only a brief amount of time led me to run inside the house. Now, the first thing I did was I turned the water on, medium warm, or on the higher side of warm. And I poured some in a receptacle, and then I dipped my feet in the warm water. And that sent the most excruciating pains in my body, one of the most remarkable pains I have ever felt. And I was literally screaming in pain. I didn't know what I had done wrong. I was only briefly in the snow, and of course, my feet were very uncomfortable. But putting them in the warm water just exacerbated the discomfort. What I later found out was that when you are uncomfortable and when your feet have been in a state of, a cold, freezing environment like snow, you never put your feet in warm water, warm or hot. You're supposed to warm them up very, very gradually or let them warm up naturally, which that's not what I did. And the pain was just so severe. And, you can Google this. You can Google frostbite. But I did not have frostbite. I mean, I had a controlled environment. I chose to go outside in the snow, and it was kind of an emergency basis. And then I ran back as quickly as I can. So it wasn't like, I was trudging through and hiking, in a snow-filled park because I lost my way and couldn't get back. I cannot imagine being in such a crisis. But so that was my most extreme encounter with thermal discomforts. But thermal discomforts are often unpredictable. And the longer that you live, the more thermal discomforts you are going to have. Every day, every moment, every week, every month, every year that you are alive, you are suffering those months, years, weeks, days. And I believe that suffering is amplified when you get older because your body is declining. And, your skin is less capable of repairing itself. Your skin is thinner. Your skin is drier. But your senses are still, they're acute. Your senses are strong. Your pain senses do not go away. They're not deteriorating with age. They're probably getting amplified. So, the only way I can look at life and accept the conditions that I've been given and the fate that I've been given with existence is to realize that there is an end. And I am at the end of my trimester of life. I am in the third trimester of life. I have coined that term. That was one of my sayings. So I've broken down life into 3 trimesters, but with the longevity of people living into their 90s and even to their, into 100s, it probably should be broken down into quarters, into 4 parts. But I'm only giving myself 3 trimesters because I'm hoping to be gone by 80, way before 80. Anyway, I had a lot of thermal discomforts in India. The heat was just unbearable for me. I was just sweating constantly. It was oppressive. I was fatigued. It limited my mobility and walking and just being in the heat period was uncomfortable. But, you know, being in cold climates can be very deadly very fast. Hypothermia can set in, frostbite. But I do want to warn you out there that the worst thing you can do is, you know, try to warm your feet or your body up quickly when it's been cold. And the pain was mind-blowing. It was the most shooting, sharp, electrifying discomfort. And if I can recall the amount of time that pain lasted, I would say 1 minute and 20 seconds. I mean, this is my memory. I could be wrong. But that 1 minute and 20 seconds was hell. And nobody would trade an excruciating amount of pain, no matter how short it was, because it's not sustainable. And nobody opts for pain. Everybody seeks medical treatment for pain. Everybody seeks, a pill or a medicine or an ointment for pain, like even a blister on your foot. I mean, blisters can be so painful that you're limping, or that you have to take your shoes off, or you can't even walk. I mean, I've had so many blisters in my life, and I had one on my arch, and I can't remember the type of shoe I was wearing, but so this blister got like infected, and it was the most painful thing. And the reason I just remember this is because I was going through some photos yesterday, and I had taken a photo of this blister. It was a huge blister, like, I don't know, about 1.5 inches on my arch area. And first blister of its kind in my whole life. And it was just extremely red. So, yeah. You can jot your experiences down below of your thermal discomforts and share this with everybody, because, I've shared some very, genuine pains of mine and thermal discomforts so far. And there's many more to endure. So, your comments are always welcome. And thank you for watching.